And so, first of all, in the early years of the 90s and through to about 1996, all the synchronicity was about the 5 sense level of this conspiracy. Banking scams, families connecting, same people behind this and behind that and behind that, who's behind the drug networks and all that stuff. Banking families and engineered wars. What was really behind the Second World War, the First World War, and what's this? And then what's this? This network that is the guiding force of this conspiracy. All that stuff. And then from about '96, when I came to America to talk about this for the first time, and lots of people turned up. I talked to 8 people in Chicago. I remember that. It was that was what you might call an expeditionary 3 months, because I was talking to myself most of the time. But I was picking up information as I passed around, and what started then from '96 onwards was the next stage of this, which is these families that I'd learned so much about in the years before were actually connected to some non-human race or entities, for which they were basically fronting up an agenda within this 5 sense reality. That's when I went into the whole reptilian stuff. And of course, the synchronicity of my life and my journey, personal journey, and my communication of information are fundamentally connected, because part of my, massive part of my life is, as I've been learning more and more, you know, my personal journey has been clearing out my own body computer programming so that you know, I can access higher and higher levels of consciousness. Of course, everyone's got the opportunity to do that, and many people are doing it now. So I've had great challenges in my life at the same time as doing the information to break this up. And break these programs up, and one of the biggest ones happened in 1991, when I started talking about what was happening to me. And of course, I was a well-known television presenter in Britain, so there was monumental ridicule of a kind that, you know, few people can actually have experienced. I mean, I would walk down the street and be laughed at by most of the people in the street for like 2-3 years. A comedian only had to say my name, no joke necessary, get a laugh.
But can we go back to that? Because I'd love to get, you know, to sort of drill down and find out how did you actually get into the reptilian situation?
Well, yeah, what I was just going to say, the reason I bring this up is about the synchronicity of my life. It's because from '96, when I started going to the reptilian stuff, because I'd been through that mass ridicule in the early 1990s, it had cleared me out of the key thing that most people live in, the prison that most people live in, which is the fear of what other people think. Therefore, to me, coming out from the late 90s about the reptilian stuff was not a problem. Because the level of ridicule could not be greater than what is before.
But why did you have ridicule before? Because the only ridicule I knew was about the reptilian.
Oh no, I mean, I'll tell you another story that leads into that. Towards the end of 1990, when I had finished the book Truth Vibrations, and it went off to the publisher to be published in the spring of 1991. I had this overwhelming feeling, again, the urge, the impulse, to go to Peru. And I had no idea why, I just had to go to Peru. So I get on a plane to Peru, not knowing why I'm going there. And I land in Lima Airport, and from the moment I landed, amazing synchronistic things happened. But eventually, I had this Peruvian guide chap that was taking me around. And funnily enough, the first time I met that guy was in Cuzco, in the old Inca region. And I went round to his house, because we were going off traveling around Peru from that day. And he's lying on his back and asleep. And I walked in, because the door was open. And he looked up at me and he said, not hello, but do you have any dreams last night? What? I said, well, actually, I did. I said, I had a real big, clear, technicolor dream that one of these 2 front teeth fell out. I can't remember which one. And he said, is your father or grandfather still alive? I said, well, my father is, yeah. I said, why? He said, well, that's usually symbolic of your father or your grandfather dying. I thought, well, this guy's going to be a bunch of laughs for the next 3 weeks. And
wow.
when I next got a call out of Peru, my father had died back in England.
Oh my God.
That's unbelievable. Anyway, I go around with this guy, and where it all leads, which kind of fundamentally leads to the reason behind the ridicule, was he eventually put us in a hotel called the Siyustani in Puno. It's kind of southern Peru, not far from Lake Titicaca. And the Siyustani Hotel was named after an Inca ruin site about an hour and a half's drive away. So there's pictures of this place all over the hotel, the ruins. And I said to the guy, I want to go there. So we go out, and I think he did a deal, get some money out of me, because I go out in like a little tourist bus with windows on the side, with a tourist bus driver and the guide and me, nobody else. And we go out to this place, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And basically, when you looked around, it was encircled by mountains, in the distance, mind. And I go there. The only people there are a couple of children with llamas for tourist photographs, but they weren't no tourists. So I walk around for about an hour, and it's very nice. It's on a hill, a lagoon on 3 sides. And I go back to the car, and it was nice, but it didn't match the urge I had to go there. So I get in the van thing, and we start to drive away. And I'm looking out the window, daydreaming, and I see this mound to my right, but must be no more than 3 minutes down the road. And as I look at the mound, all I can hear in my head is, come to me, come to me, come to me, come to me, come to me. What? Because I'm really new to this stuff. I mean, what's going on with my life? So I said to the guy, can you stop the van, because the bus thing, I'm going up the mound. So I went up the mound. I couldn't see it from the road, but when I got to the top, there was a circle of standing stones, about waist high. These stones were obviously been there a very, very long time. So I walk into the middle of this circle, and I'm looking across to Siyustani and across to the distant mountains, and it's a piercing hot Peruvian day, no clouds, not a cloud in the sky, very much like this one today. And I walked to the center of the circle, and suddenly my feet go again, like they did in the news shot, but only seriously more powerful. They're like magnets pulling my feet to the ground. And I think, oh crikey, I recognize that, here we go. And then I felt like a drill going in the top of my head and through my body, through my feet into the ground, and then another one coming the other way. And then my arms go out at 45 degrees like that. I never made any decision to do it. And of course, you hold your arms out there for, a minute. It starts to ache. Well, my shoulders do anyway. It was the best part of an hour. It must be 45 minutes to an hour, my arms were like that. And when it was over, my shoulders were agony, but when it was going on, nothing. And what then started to happen is this energy coming through me, this is February 1991, got more and more powerful. My body started to shake with it. And I had two very powerful thought forms just passed through my head, just like in the news shop. The first one said, they'll be talking about this 100 years from now. And I'm thinking, talking about what? And the other one was, it will be over when you feel the rain. I've just described what the weather was like. It will be over when you feel the rain. I mean, you're having a laugh, mate. So what happened then for the next 45 minutes, because time disappeared, there was no time, I worked it out later, was that this energy just kept coming through me. And I kept going in and out of, if you like, awareness, consciousness, like driving a car, and you go, crikey, where did the last 2 miles go? One of these times when I came back to kind of awareness, I noticed that over the distant mountains there was a light grey mist. And I kind of, as I watched it, it got darker and darker very quickly. And I realized it was pouring with rain over the distant mountains. And over the next little while, however long it was, I watched this storm come out of the mountains. And people, whether people talk about a weather front, well, this was a straight line. The cloud was a straight line. I've described it many times as like drawing the curtains across the sky.